Cruises are meant to feel relaxing, but embarkation day often feels like the opposite. It's busy, it's crowded, and it's easy to feel like you're already behind before the cruise even starts. A lot of people assume that means they're doing something wrong, but most of the stress on embarkation day comes from misunderstanding what this day is actually meant to be. It's not about starting the vacation perfectly, it's about moving from real life into cruise life. In this video, we're going to walk through how to make embarkation day feel smoother. Not by rushing and not by optimizing every step, but by setting the right expectations and letting the transition happen naturally. Embarkation day has a very specific purpose. It's a bridge between real life and cruise life. A lot of stress comes from expecting the day to feel calm right away. But embarkation day is about movement, coordination, and transition. When you understand that this day is meant to ease you from one pace to another, it becomes easier to let it unfold without frustration. A smooth embarkation starts when you stop trying to rush the feeling of vacation and let the transition happen naturally. For most people, embarkation day stress doesn't actually start at the port, it starts at home. It shows up as last-minute packing, second guessing, and the feeling that something important might be getting left behind. That kind of pressure makes it easy to overpack and hard to feel settled before the trip even begins. One of the simplest ways to lower that stress is to take thinking out of packing. Having a reusable digital checklist that you can start well before the cruise keeps everything out of your head and in one place. It turns packing into a process instead of a scramble. It also helps to keep cruise-specific items together year-round. Things that you only really use on a cruise don't need to be hunted down every time you travel. When those items live in one container, packing becomes familiar instead of frantic. This isn't about packing perfectly, it's about reducing mental noise before the trip even starts. When you leave home feeling prepared instead of rushed, embarkation day already feels smoother. How you get to the port plays a bigger role in embarkation day than most people expect. Embarkation day is already long, busy, and mentally demanding. Adding a tight travel schedule on top of that can raise stress before the cruise even begins. For us, if the port is more than a couple of hours away, we plan to arrive the day before. That usually means staying in a hotel near the port. It does add extra time and expense to the trip, but we think of it as protecting the investment you've already made. A cruise is a big commitment of both time and money. Starting with a long drive or a same-day flight increases the chances that something small can turn into something stressful. Delays happen, traffic happens, flights change. When the schedule is too tight, even a minor issue can set a rushed tone for the entire day. Giving yourself a buffer in time removes that pressure. Instead of racing the clock, you arrive with a margin. And when the day starts with a margin, everything that follows tends to feel easier. Small physical things can have a surprisingly big impact on how embarkation day feels. Arriving at the port hungry, tired, or uncomfortable makes every line feel longer and every delay feel heavier. That's why we try to take care of a few basics before arriving. Eating a real breakfast helps more than people realize. Yes, the first thing many guests do when they board is eat, but arriving already hungry can put you into rush mode before the cruise even begins. When everyone is starving, it's hard to move patiently through check-in and harder to enjoy those first moments on board. Taking care of that ahead of time gives you more flexibility once you arrive. The same goes for using the restroom before getting to the port. Most terminals do have restrooms, but they're often not available until after the first few checkpoints. Stepping away mid-process can be inconvenient and add unnecessary stress. None of this is about being efficient, it's about arriving steady. When your basic needs are met, it's much easier to move through embarkation with patience and ease. Embarkation involves a few repeated steps, and most of them ask for some information. Documents get checked, apps get scanned, identification gets verified more than once. When those things aren't easy to access, small delays can quickly turn into frustration. Having your documents ready before you arrive removes a lot of that friction. Every cruise line requires proof of citizenship, usually a passport or birth certificate, along with a cruise-issued check-in document. That document might live in the cruise line's app or be sent by email. Either way, it helps to know exactly where it is before you reach the terminal. For us, that means having everything pulled up and ready to go. Sometimes it's a printed copy, sometimes it's digital. But what matters most is not having to search for it while standing in line. If you're using your phone, it's worth opening the app ahead of time and making sure you're signed in. If your documents are in an email, downloading them and saving them to a shortcut can make the process much smoother. These small preparation steps don't just help you, they also help the port staff as well. When everybody is ready, the whole process moves more calmly. And when the process feels calm, embarkation day starts to feel easier too. Once you step onto the ship, it can feel like the cruise needs to start immediately. Most people head straight to lunch, especially after a long morning. But taking a few minutes to handle a couple of things first can make the rest of the day smoother. Embarkation day is often the best time to take care of certain details. If you're traveling with kids, many cruise lines offer Kids Club check-in as soon as you board. Doing this early can save time later, especially when everyone is excited to go for the first time. It's also a good opportunity to confirm dining arrangements. There's usually a designated area on embarkation day to handle the dining questions or requests. Taking a moment to make sure your dining time is correct, your group is seated together, or any preferences are noted can prevent frustration later in the cruise. None of this is required, but handling it now keeps these tasks from interrupting more relaxed moments later. Spending a few minutes here can save a lot of time and energy over the rest of the trip. For a lot of people, the cruise doesn't really begin when they step on board. It begins when they reach their room. Dropping off carry-on bags and seeing the cabin for the first time and having a quiet moment can reset your energy after a long morning. Embarkation day is intense, even when everything goes smoothly. There's a strong urge to start exploring right away or to rush to the pool or other ship attractions. But taking a short pause in the room can make the rest of the afternoon feel much better. This is also a good time to do a quick check of the cabin. Making sure everything is comfortable and working as expected is easier now than later. And if something does need attention, addressing it early usually saves time and frustration. Even just sitting down for a few minutes helps. You don't need to do anything special. Letting the space become familiar gives your mind a chance to catch up. When you step back out after that pause, the ship tends to feel less overwhelming and more like home. For many cruisers, the first dinner feels important. It's something that people look forward to and often imagine ahead of time. That can make expectations rise quietly without realizing it. On embarkation day, the main dining room is still settling into a new sailing. Guests are tired from a long day. Many people don't know where their table is yet. The crew is learning the rhythm of a new group of guests. And the kitchen is easing into a full service. None of this means anything is wrong. It's just part of the first night. Cutting everyone a little slack makes the experience feel lighter. This is often not the best dinner of the cruise, and that's okay. For most sailings, it improves quickly from here. When you go into the first dinner relaxed and flexible, it becomes part of the transition instead of a test. And that's usually the best way to end an embarkation day. A smooth embarkation day isn't about avoiding lines or getting everything done early. It's about pacing, expectations, and letting the transition happen naturally. Some parts of the day will feel busy. Some moments won't go exactly as planned. That doesn't mean you did anything wrong. Embarkation day is simply the bridge between real life and cruise life. And bridges take a little time to cross. When you give yourself a margin, take care of the basics, and release the pressure to rush, the day starts to feel lighter. By the time sail away passes and the evening settles in, most of that stress fades all on its own. If embarkation day felt imperfect, that's normal. If it felt slower than expected, that's okay. The cruise isn't rushing you, and you're not behind. You're exactly where you're supposed to be.